Hello and welcome back. Today I've got a card with all die cuts, not a stamp inside. This is one of my favorite techniques, and I can't wait to show you how you make this card using die cuts and inks from Fawn. Here is a look at a little bit of the layout that I think I'm going to use, but first I need to add a little bit of dimension to all of these die cuts. Now I am using Fawn cardstock and the coordinating colors and just using ink foams to add a little bit of dimension by adding a little bit of shading to the outside of the die cuts. This is definitely a step that you could skip, but I do feel like it adds a lot of dimension to the die cuts and makes them look a little bit more special, especially because there's no stamping on this card. Without doing this, it could look easily really one-dimensional. So I'm just going in and adding shading. That is actually the only cardstock that is not Fawn, and it is craft cardstock from Nina, and I'm using the sugar cookie ink from Fawn. So just going around and adding a little bit of shading to all the edges, like I said. All of the supplies are listed down below so you can see what color cardstock and what color ink I am using for all of these pieces. So I selected obviously fall colors because this is a fall themed card. So I really love these little leaf die cuts from Fawn. They cut the stitching into the leaves and they just look so cute, and I thought it would be great to match with this pumpkin. The pumpkin is new from this year, but the leaves are an older release. Obviously, I have sped this up a lot. I wish I could ink blend this quickly, but sadly cannot. So it is sped up. Every time in between, I'm wiping down my waffle flower water media mat with a baby wipe and then with a paper towel, just so that my colors don't mix and contaminate. I obviously now have blending foams for all of these ink colors, and what I do to store them is I'll just tape it to the bottom of the ink pad so that I have it for next time. So now I have the green for the grass. I'm just going to add a little bit of ink blending to this. I have yet to cut this down. Obviously, it's not going to be this large of a panel, but I'm just adding a little bit of interest to it. Because I've added all of the ink blending to the other pieces, I just felt like the grass needed it. I've now cut that down and added it to my sky piece, which is Fawn Spiffy Speckles paper. And I'm just going to put everything down. I've also got this happy fall line sentiment, and I've cut that out 3 times and stacked them together. Adding liquid glue from Gina K to the back of my grass. Adding that down. And then I can start laying out the rest of this card again. So I need to glue down the little stem onto my pumpkin. Connect those together. And then obviously the pumpkin is really the centerpiece, so it needs to go in the middle. I'm trying to vary the selection of leaves. So I have those 2 that look like maple leaves. So I'm going to put them on opposite sides. And then I'm also trying to make it so that I've got colors on opposite sides, that they're not all together. I like that they're opposite. So one side has 4, one side has 3. I think not making it look identical and perfect is something that I prefer to do. I'm just going ahead and adding the liquid glue to the back of these leaves and putting them down pretty much where I had them. I have to take out that pumpkin because I'm going to adhere that pumpkin with some foam tape, but I needed it for sizing of where to place down the leaves. So I'm just picking up all of these with my tweezers, putting the glue on the back and sticking them back down. I obviously put a lot of glue on these. You probably don't need to put nearly as much. I just really wanted them to be secure, especially because I'm going to mail this card. So I need to make sure that nothing will fall off in the mail. Plus, this liquid glue dries clear, so if any squeezes out, you'll never know. I've got this happy fall sentiment, once again using my tweezers, and trying to decide if I'm going to put it down and put the pumpkin peeking out from it, but in the end I decided to put it just directly onto the pumpkin and cut off the edges. So you can see here I'm taking the pumpkin, trying to get this as straight as possible. This die cut is so thin that sometimes it's a little bit flimsy, so just trying to make sure it's as straight as possible. I kind of dropped it on there, not straight, so you see some of the glue, but like I said, it dries clear. I've cut off the little edges of the line border on that die cut, and now I'm just adding foam tape to this pumpkin so that this card has a little bit of dimension. Even a little bit to the tiny little stem. I will peel off all of that foam tape and stick it down onto the card. I then just need to adhere this to a card base. I use Nina Solar White 110 pound cardstock, and that completes my card. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make this all die cut card. Let me know in the comments if you ever use this technique, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks so much.